News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis. Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Welcome to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning.
I'm Allan Gilbreth with AllanSpices.com.
And I'm Maximilian, and I have no idea what to make of today.
Oh, boy.
You know why? Because not only is today National Pancake Day, but we also wish a happy birthday to Gilbert Gottfried and Bugsy Siegel.
Boy, now those are two very different people, Allan. So
Aladdin's parrot and the guy that invented
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas, basically, yeah.
Allan,
And he was a mobster.
Do you remember the day back at another radio station? We actually saw Gilbert Gottfried.
Yeah,
I didn't even recognize him, and I saw him in person, and I'm like, who is this little guy? He's sitting there waiting in the lobby at the radio station. Turns out it was Gilbert Gottfried. It's funny how people look different in person.
We got a lot of that at the expos for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah,
so.
Very distinctive voice though. So okay, Bugsy Siegel. I don't know, Max. I can't really get behind that guy. I mean, he was a criminal, right?
And he,
very much so.
Yes. And also Las Vegas, and I know how much you abhor Las Vegas.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan. So
But
anyway.
you know, we all are big fans of pancakes. Well,
Yeah,
except for
Pancake Day seems pretty universal, Max. I like a good chocolate chip pancake when
ain't gonna argue
when
with
well
that.
done. It has to be. Don't cheat and just pour the chocolate chips on the top of the pancake.
No, it's got to
You
be
gotta
in the
mix
batter.
it and don't burn them either. It's a very dicey, culinary experience. But all right, well, Allan, speaking of dicey, this is interesting. So you and I, we were talking about this. I counted about, let's see. This could be a cosmic homeowner. This could be a Critter Wars, or this could be a design flaw. It's all mixed in one. There was a very
100 years of stupid.
Yeah, there was a very interesting story. I grew up in Chicago, and I can say some of our city leaders and our decision makers didn't always make very good decisions.
What?
So yeah, I'm just gonna put it out there. And so this is an interesting story about why you don't mix ecosystems, and that goes for our neighborhood ecosystems too, right now.
It certainly can, yeah.
Max has a follow-up report about his fallen wrench. Yeah. So we're going to find out what happened with that, folks. Just stay tuned for that drama. In our great moments in building history, well, it only took 144 years, right? No rush. I say 144 years. The clock's still ticking because it's the Sagrada Familia, that creation of Antoni Gaudi's in Spain. Well, they finished the outside. They finally finished construction on it.
They finished it like last week.
After 144 years. Yeah, yes. So it's like, but now I guess there's probably going to still be things to be done on the inside.
Oh, you mean like work on the interior?
Yeah. You had something that I wasn't sure. You didn't give me much info, but you said what to do and what not to do with a water feature.
Oh, I've got a lot of experience in the last 2 weeks with those, so
Okay.
we need to have a talk.
Okay, well, water seems to be playing a big role in today's show because you were working in Allan's Week in Review, a water side upgrade. Mm-hmm. And we definitely have to get to you and I in the middle of our show prep last night. I had to hit pause and deal with the show material is it keeps springing up at my house, literally. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this one a garage spring just like
oof. Yeah,
that's pretty loud.
Definitely need to talk about that
when they break. But anyway, there's a lot more. There's even more on these notes, but we can't over tease or things will get out of hand here. So all of that's coming up here on Tool Talk Radio today, and we would love to hear from you. So get in touch. You can call or text us at 901-683-0989, and also go to Facebook and go to @Tool Talk Radio and check out the post that we've made over there. I can't think of a better plan than just fire up the grill, make some pancakes, and listen to Tool Talk Radio.
It's gonna buckle in. It's gonna be a good one today.
But before we get to any of those things, Allan, full disclosure, I didn't want to bring this in because it's a harsh chemical, so I took a pic. I put the picture on.
Okay.
Whatever on Facebook, but tell people what we've got here for our must-have item of the week.
You have basically drain treatment.
Yeah,
is going to be the thing because there's a lot of different drain treatments out there designed to do actually fairly specific jobs.
Well, this one is for mainline. I put the mainline drain cleaner because I think I mentioned, we've been hearing stories recently.
Right.
A lot of people are having trouble with their mainline drains, and folks, I probably should have also brought in a roll of single-ply toilet paper because that's been the biggest, I think, more than any other lifestyle change we've made over the last 7 or 8 years. That is definitely the one that has saved me the most headaches. I know it sounds, simple, but some of that big cottony toilet paper that you use, that's plugging up your main line, man. I'm telling you.
It doesn't break down as fast as you think it does.
We used to have every 6 months we were cleaning out our main line drain. Now, granted, we had 4 teenagers living in the house at the same time, too. But, Allan, since we switched over to single ply, I haven't had knock on wood, I haven't had a mainline problem since then. But I do believe in mainline maintenance, and so that's what this does. So, Allan, how harsh are these? I guess these chemicals are designed to,
all right, well,
break down eventually.
Well, let's just start at your standard sink clog.
Okay.
Your standard everyday sink clog. And, Joe, for you and I, this is kind of hard to believe, but I'm going to stare at the befurried Max over here and go, your standard sink clog is you. It's hair.
Thank you.
That figures.
Not me. You and I aren't guilty of this one. So,
you and I are going to be hard-pressed to cause a hair backup.
Now, how about facial hair? Because it's a little bit more dense than, hair.
Yeah,
hair.
Smaller.
It doesn't fall out, and you don't trim it in the sink. So, generally...
Well, you do shave, but that's pretty much, it's
well,
smaller.
you shave.
Yeah, okay.
I'm starting to resemble Grizzly Adams
But
these days.
longer, because, Max, you got some pretty long bangs there.
Yeah,
man,
so generally it's going to be hair. And what happens is hair is shockingly resilient.
Oh, yeah.
It holds
it
up
lasts
for centuries. Yeah,
Right,
I mean,
right.
hair does not go away. So you have your base every day. I'm trying to get a clog out of the sink is really designed to get rid of hair.
Yeah, because then once that builds up, then other things grab it. It's like
once you get one, then everything
effect.
else starts grabbing on.
Yeah.
The second one you get is buildup.
Yeah.
Because, we're in the South. And I hate to say it, but there's something living in every single home within the sound of my voice that is not going to sound pleasant.
Yeah.
You have slime molds.
Oh, yeah.
And what are these? They are exactly what they sound like. They're basically slime. It's a type of mold, and it grows anywhere there is water.
Is that the stuff you see when you take off the U-bend under a sink and everything?
It's kind of a jelly-looking substance. Yep, that's a slime mold.
Yeah. Which can grab other things and grab
and
more
again,
things.
it's kind of like Blobby on, any number of Transylvania movies.
Right.
So that one's kind of easy to get rid of. So there are a few things like chlorine tablets and stuff like that to get rid of slime molds.
Yep.
But then we get to our favorite topic coming out of winter, and that is fatbergs.
Well, that's exactly.
Because now is when we're getting out towards the main. The main is where water can slow down and things can deposit.
Yep.
So if you do, and this is going to sound kind of bad, but if you do a lot of houseplant work in the kitchen sink, chances are those little soil particles are going to be laying in your main drain trying to leave the house.
Wait, who's doing that? That sounds like a terrible idea.
There's
it's
a
like little
lot
tiny
of
rocks
people-
that you're running down your sink.
A lot of people do this.
Oh, please don't do that. That sounds terrible.
Well, so you kind of see where just stuff begins to accumulate.
Yeah.
And the other one is, and I hate to say it, and for all of you that are ecologically minded, you need to run that water just a little longer.
Yeah, these toilets that they designed however many years ago to save water, those aren't really helping the situation. Like where you get 2 quarts of water to flush a toilet or something. That ain't cutting it, man.
It was occasionally also you put too much down the drain.
Yeah,
especially bread, rice, any combination of those two.
Yep.
Of pastas, anything that can swell up in water, not your friend. You've got to run enough water to get that down the system because of just last night is a perfect example at a commercial facility. We happened to walk in just as the young man was getting ready to dump that excess tray of meatballs.
Wait a minute.
I'm not kidding.
Down the garbage disposal?
He's got that commercial garbage disposal running, and we walked in just as he's about to yell alley-oop. And the poor maintenance director just about had a coronary.
Okay, from his perspective, it would be pretty fun to do that, but that is like, I would strangle that kid if he did that to me.
What's the funnest food to put down to disposal?
Oh, the most destructive thing on the planet is oatmeal and rice.
No, I said fun.
Probably pumpkin shavings, because that stuff holds up and fights back for a while.
Well, that's what I'm
but
wondering.
But don't do that.
What makes the most satisfying sound as it's being ground up? That's the other. Meatball sounds like it'd be like the Blob or something like that.
And
what a
it's gonna
horrible
make.
idea, man. Okay. Yeah, don't drop 5 pounds of meatballs down your garbage disposal. Whoa! Wow, that took a turn. So
meatballs and disposals.
All right, well, we're gonna keep the fun going with bad decisions when it comes to water when we come back here for our Cosmic Homeowner here on Tool Talk Radio.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Did somebody say boom?
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from Allan Spices over at allanspices.com, and our pal Max over there behind the glass. You can call or text us at 901-683-0989, especially if you want to talk about some of your favorite performances by Gilbert Gottfried, because today is his birthday. And also, it's National Pancake Day, which, unless you're, I don't know, on a serious, I don't know, like maybe you just, I don't know if you have celiacs or something. That would be the only reason. Max, you can't eat pancakes anymore, right? So,
I mean, I choose not to, but I know they have gluten-free pancake batter.
Okay, but I mean, most people enjoy a good pancake. So, and it's
yeah.
like, yeah, and everybody has their own. You couldn't pay me to put like honey on top of a pancake, but there's people that actually like stuff like that. But
buckwheat pancake
I don't know, man.
Absolutely wonderful with honey.
Okay, not me, but chocolate chip pancakes, blueberry if it's done properly, but whatever. It's National Pancake Day, so we'd be happy to let you weigh in on that. And Denise out there sent us a text. Denise, hang tight. Because the text she sent in is going to connect perfectly with Allan's Week in Review. So,
it does.
So we'll get to that. But in the meantime, we have something much bigger to discuss.
That's the most foul, cruel, and bad-tempered rodent you ever set eyes on.
Actually, just because I haven't played this in a while.
Oh, rats in the kitchen, just like that delightful movie I taped in the theater.
Okay. This could be 3 categories in one, probably more. 80 years of stoop, whatever it is. But this could be a Cosmic Homeowner. This could be a Critter Wars. This could be a design flaw. And this could be 30 years of stupid all wrapped into one. So, well, I'm really enjoying the show that we brought up last week. The what is it called? Major engineering mistakes. I've been working my way through that show, and there was one that I thought was worthy of mention because, as you indicated, this actually comes right home to us.
Oh, yes.
So, Allan, I don't have the name of the river. I can't remember what it is, but essentially, here's the problem, folks. So, my beloved hometown of Chicago, it saw rapid growth in the 1800s, and there was a lot of people wanting to move there. And then, of course, we know how many, I think there's 2 million people in Chicago now. But, Allan, that creates a lot of sewage. And the problem was the sewage was getting, it went into the river, and then it started making its way to the lake. So their idea was to basically, there was another waterway. I don't know if you have that handy, but basically there was another waterway. Their idea was to dig across the land and connect these 2 waterways where instead of going into the lake, it's going to go down this river. And there was all sorts of unintended consequences that happened because of this. Namely, the Asian carp, which lives in this river, is an invasive species which somebody else brought in for whatever other reasons, kind of like kudzu,
And they were both from Asia.
Right, and we bring those in, and for one reason, and to fix one problem, and it creates 800 other problems. And now these fish, we're heading towards Lake Michigan, and the Army Corps of Engineers was called in, and it's turned into this big battle. And
I'm starting to see a similarity of calling in the literal big guns and the successive nature over said big guns, like the emu wars in Australia.
Yeah, it's not. You start you have one idea, let some decision maker green light it without giving it a lot of thought and foresight, and it turns into this turned into an epic battle, Alan. So.
Well, all right, let's start with the simple fact that the Chicago River itself that runs through the city of Chicago has on numerous occasions been so bad the river itself has caught fire.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, exactly. They dye it green every year. They do, it's like, yeah.
How bad you got to be your river catches on fire? That's kind of tough. Okay, let's just, I don't know, let's kind of work our way through this. All right, let's start with an Asian carp.
Yeah,
so not everybody has actually seen one yet. And if you haven't, you owe it to yourself to go to YouTube or some other channel and just look up Asian carp and boat motors.
Or fishermen. Yeah, because
back in the 70s, wastewater treatment plants brought these in because they are phenomenal filter feeders.
They eat the garbage, basically.
They eat whatever's growing in the water.
Yeah.
So, we already know if you put too much fertilizer in the water, you got runoff, you get a huge algae bloom, and they went, hey, we got a fish that eats that.
Yeah.
What a great idea. All right, the problem is these things get to be like 60 pounds. They're like 3 or 4 feet long, and to escape predators, they have a unique talent.
Yeah.
And that is to fling themselves into the air at a very high velocity. And these guys
are like dolphins, man. They
can clear your boat. They will take you out.
Dolphins are more perverts, though.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to get into
these
dolphins,
guys will just take you clear off the boat. These guys, they're huge.
Think of you're out there fishing or you're trolling along, because I've seen videos. That's what got me wanting to talk about this. That hurts, man.
Yeah,
whacked by a 60-pound fish.
Take a 60-pound fish to the side of the head. See how well you feel. All right. So then we also got to add in something your article didn't quite mention, and that is also the zebra mussel.
Oh, yeah.
Now, the zebra mussel is from the Russian side of the world.
Okay.
And it's a very fast-growing little mollusk, also a filter feeder. But because they like to clump up, they have a tendency to block drain gates and stuff like that. So anytime you begin rearranging water, there are things you can't see that are going on that maybe you want. Chances are you probably don't.
Yeah. And if you think you understand the psychology of a fish, you probably don't. Yeah.
Well, as you and I have always said, water's going to do what water's going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And if you leave water an opportunity to do something you don't want it to do, you and I both know it's going to do it.
Yeah.
Let's also throw in a disease called cryptosporidia.
Oh, gosh.
That
doesn't sound good.
No, it is not. It is an invasive little parasite. It does not do nice things to your stomach. And it is the result of basically animal feces in water.
Ugh.
And
okay,
it's also chlorine. It's also chlorine resistant. So if it got sucked into your water system, and this has happened at numerous municipalities, including Chicago, it can come through your water system and make you sick.
Happy breakfast.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you're not bleaching this stuff out. In other words,
you can't not and still be able to drink the water. So proper filtration and all of these things had to go in. So it's kind of like a balloon, people. When you push in one spot, it's going to bulge out another. So what they ended up having happen was this cascade of unintended consequences.
It's like if you're in the house and it's 70 degrees outside and you go, oh, it's nice out. I'm gonna turn the air conditioner on, and then it's like, well, now it's too cold in here. I'm gonna turn the heater on. Then I'm gonna turn it's like, well, you should have just opened the window. Why didn't you? You know, you're doing all this extra stuff, but they want immediate results.
And while we were worried about waste management in so we were trying to find a way to solve this waste management problem here, and the line of least resistance was to, let's just move it to B.
Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, when you moved it to B, you let anything that was in A now has access to B. And guess what it's going to do? Yeah. Exactly what they're designed to do. Take advantage.
Yeah.
So now you've created additional problems from A to B, and you still haven't actually solved the original problem.
I'm surprised, Joe, that you didn't bring up the method of carp barriering.
Oh, we've got that here on the list, Max. We'll get to that.
Okay,
That's the even funniest part. So,
so, all right.
I say funny because I'm not living there.
Yeah,
it's
right.
Romeoville, technically.
Yeah.
All right, being here on the Mississippi River, we have them.
Yeah.
They're here. Why are they bad? They're bad because they breed really fast. And 2, they eat everything.
Yeah, including the fish that you actually want.
No, they don't eat the fish. They're filter feeders.
Okay.
But they eat all the food.
Oh, well,
they can filter out the water down to 40 microns in size.
And I thought they also eat what was once food.
Dude, they eat anything. If
so they're starving out the other
exactly.
fish. So it's essentially the same thing. So
and of course, any fry or anything gets in front of a 60-pound thing with a huge mouth and a filter, it's going to go down the filter.
Now, on the upside, Alan, what do these guys taste like? Are they?
They're actually a firm, white-fleshed fish. They're actually pretty darn. Actually, I got to tell you, they're pretty darn tasty.
All right, so just let Alan loose on these things,
I got
you could open
a
riverside restaurant.
I got spices for these guys.
All right, well, we're going to continue the drama because it's they have an electrifying end to this story, and we'll get to it when we come back here on Tool Talk Radio.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Alan.
Gonna paint our wagon, gonna paint it good. We ain't bragging, we're gonna coat that wood.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
Okay, are these guys like angling for a raise or something? Big deal. They're gonna paint a wagon. I can do that. Could do that in 20 minutes, Max. Big deal.
I think they huff some of the fumes from the wood.
No kidding. Yeah, they're having way too much fun doing that painting. And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Alan Gilbreth from Allan Spices over at allanspices.com, and our pal Max over there behind the glass. You can call or text us at 901-683-0989, and apparently the texts are coming in, Alan. I guess everybody wants to weigh in on this fish combat that we're talking about. Also, head on over to Facebook and go to @ToolTalkRadio. As a matter of fact, I just posted a nice little photo that Denise sent us of her pet goose, Gracie Lou. Mm-hmm. Good-looking animal.
And absolutely the boss of the barnyard.
Geese run everything.
They're some tough critters, man.
If you're just joining us, we have a really dynamic segment. It's a combination Cosmic Homeowner, Critter Wars, Design Flaw, 30 Years of Stupid. Every bad idea you could possibly, and they're stacking up on top of each other. Basically, when we at the break, we were talking about how these Asian carp, which can get up to 60 pounds, and they like to jump. They can jump high, too. These are like mini dolphins, and they like to whack people in the face when you're driving by on your boat. And they were introduced into this water unintentionally, and now in Chicago as a way to get rid of sewage and all this other stuff. But now they're having to bring out hunters, and they're calling in the Army Corps of Engineers and everything. And before we continue, Max, I think we have some texts that are appropriate to that, right?
Well, first I want to mention the one that's the least appropriate, not in terms of vulgarity, but just in terms of the fact that it's about the holiday today, which is National Pancake Day.
Oh, good. Okay.
Chris and Berclair said they love them some boysenberry syrup on their pancakes with a small stick of butter.
What is that?
Boysenberry.
Is that
It's a
kind of
relative
flavor
of
is it?
blackberry.
Is there a tartness to
Yeah,
that?
it's got a nice sweet tart finish.
That sounds
to it.
very sophisticated.
Oh yeah, it's good
That
stuff.
sounds like something you'd go to a place and they'd give you a pancake that's, the size of a quarter and give you that and charge you $50 for it.
That you go to the places that serve boysenberry give you pancakes the size of dinner plates.
Okay, good. All right, that sounds pretty good, Chris. Thank you.
And then Sean made it very plainly clear about what the Asian carp also like to eat, and that's just number 2.
Thanks, Sean. Okay.
And then we have and then as you said, Denise, this is the next to last, said Gracie Lou is her Chinese goose. She says she's had her and 2 runner duck females since spring of 2023, and she also had a mixed flock and some other ducks too in various breeds, and then also a mixed flock of chickens. And Gracie Lou is great, and she watches out for everybody.
I wonder if Gracie Lou lays eggs. Do geese lay eggs?
Yes,
and what are those
geese lay
eggs
eggs.
like?
They make amazing pound cakes.
So she has I didn't know Denise had that much
She's got some
wildlife
barnyard
at her
going on there.
house.
Yeah.
Holy smokes. So I wonder if she's got the full, I wonder, Denise, what you do to winterize those chicken coops and things like that.
They're pretty tough. They do all right.
Okay. Out here, it's not that big of a problem. But Gracie Lou is a good-looking bird, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we posted that on our...
Yeah, I took one look at that and I said, I know who's in charge of that barnyard.
Yeah.
Yep, she is.
And then last but not least, we have John's other phone, as it's called on the text line. It said, I've seen people dress medieval style with swords and shields, and they boat down the river chopping the aerial carp.
Come on.
The Peoria carp hunters.
Okay, come on, Al. I mean, we
No.
know some of these SCA guys so that's their weapon of choice is a sword?
Baseball bats, face
come on.
covers.
I could see one of those guys using one of those big swords from Braveheart and cleaving the fish in twain.
So they're waiting for the fish to jump out of the water. Okay, I got a couple of questions. John, for one thing, how do you know all this? But also, Alan, is there something you can do to stir up the Asian carp to make them jump out?
Yeah.
So, what do? You stick an electrode in the water?
No, you just gun that boat motor.
So that scares them?
They go crazy.
Okay, because the videos I saw, there were boats of these guys, going. They would net them first and then take them. But
well, you also have the big thing now is bow fishing.
Oh, come on!
Get up there with your bow and arrow with your tether, and go bow fishing.
You gotta be a pretty good. I mean, okay.
Well, all right, Joe. There's so many. It's kind of hard to miss.
I like these medieval guys though with their swords and their metal helmets.
We have a text. Sean said, so I guess instead of them LARPing, you could call it carping.
That's pretty good, man. So
all right. People have always complained that fishing was passive.
Oh, not anymore.
Now it's a full contact sport.
It's aggressive, not passive aggressive.
I should say for our non-geek friends, LARP means live action role play. So when you drive by and you see these medieval guys fighting, and that's LARPing basically. So I don't know, man. I think a sword to me is the least effective in this situation. But
you haven't been whacked in the head with a 60-pound carp yet.
These are like those fly fishermen, right? Where if you catch one fish, you're lucky, right? Like the whole thing is
no. If you don't get taken off the front of the boat, you're lucky.
Okay, I was gonna say I could see. How intelligent are these fish?
I'll show you a video. I'll show you a video in a little bit.
Yeah, I'm wondering if these fish could coordinate and coordinate their attacks. They might take these guys out.
If they could do that, there wouldn't be a boat left.
Right.
They would go down. So.
All right, these are all pretty good texts, you guys. This is good stuff. But I do have to say, Alan, this is a really bad public policy. And how much is this costing the taxpayers? And we still haven't fixed the problem because hiring a bunch of people to catch fish to keep them from going up the river into Lake Michigan is not going to be effective. So the Army Corps of Engineers was brought in, and they had a high-tech solution, right?
They did. They built an electric fish zapper. They have a part of the river.
You're not kidding either. Underwater,
I'm not kidding.
I
am not kidding. It is an electric fish zapper. If a silverhead or bighead carp is seen within the confines, A lot of voltage is going to go through that water, and that fish is not going to make it.
Hold on. I didn't know there was a watchman watching for that. What do they do overnight when it's?
Well, they have.
I thought it was automatically tuned.
Well, they
to
have
bounce
radar
the fish back.
for fish. They're watching.
So
Yes.
it's like Colonel John Finnington of the Carp Division.
Yeah. Finnington. Well, but here's the problem. So it's kind of like those electric collars, the shock collars that you have for your cats or dogs to keep them in the yard. The voltage was enough to make it unpleasant. That's what he said, so that the fish would turn around and not come through. That was the design idea. Well, the design flaw here was that if 50 of these fish got together, the 5 ones on the outside got zapped, and the rest of them could plow through. Like there was these sacrificial fish.
And then you just had some that just didn't care. They just kept right on going.
We're going.
Yeah,
I'm 60 pounds. I'll take a little electricity for 3 seconds.
Yeah.
So it's a big mess, Alan. I mean,
well, all right.
have they ever resolved this? Because honestly, I was laughing so hard I never figured out.
This is an ongoing thing. Let's throw in the words, and let's tie all of this, as fun as it is, back to your home aquarium, and the words unintended consequences. So your next door neighbor decides to put a really big silver maple right in the dead center of the backyard. Well, there's a slight problem, because that's kind of where his yard is sloped for the water to go.
Okay.
Well, this year it's not a problem. Next year it's not a problem. 5 years from now, the water, instead of being redirected out to the center of the yard, the water is now being redirected out to the house.
I see.
So unintended consequences of somebody comes along and plants a garden all along the boxwood fence. Now there's no gap at the bottom of the boxwood fence. So now there is no water flow from yard to yard.
Your next door neighbor is not liking that when they're.
Well, you and I've worked on a project a while back where they wanted to make some pretty big changes to the porch, and when they made those changes, it changed the water flow around the house.
Right. Yeah.
Oh gosh. Frank Lloyd Wright was the first one that looked at you and said, "Oh, you won't know what your neighborhood looks like for 20 years."
Yeah.
We're just now putting in the trees and the bushes and the landscaping, and this is not what it's going to look like.
Oh, landscape architects will tell you that. It's like they do stuff where you're not going to know what it looks like for 40 years. It's like,
so here's kind of the gotcha. All right, you just got through building that beautiful deck, and you went and bought that cute, about 6 foot tall loblolly green pine, yellow pine, and you put it 4 feet off the deck because it's cute and you can just see the top of it. It looks like a Christmas tree. Yeah, but 10 years from now, that thing's going to be 6 foot around.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be 80 feet tall, and it's going to crush your house.
Yeah. And ruin the deck. Yeah.
So there's a lot of unintended consequences, and the state of Florida would like to remind you, do not take your cute little fish and set it free. Because now we have mobs of goldfish loose in Lake Tahoe. Your cute little algae eater, the Plecostomus, turns into a 3 foot long monster that is eating the Everglades.
I could just picture those little goldfish posse and everything with little bandanas and little clubs and it's all right, where's that algae?
But Alan, on a smaller scale, we do this in our own. Every yard has its own ecosystem.
It does.
And so you better think about what you plant, what animals you put in there,
and what it's going to attract.
What fertilizer you use, what you're doing. It all connects, folks. That's why we thought this was a cosmic homeowner tale as well.
Holistically cosmic homeowner.
On a more upbeat note, when we come back here, though, let's check in with Max and get a follow-up report about his lost wrench.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
Oh, boy. And we'll come back. That's what I think the city planners were doing over in Chicago. And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from Allan Spices over at allanspices.com, and our pal Max over there behind the glass. You can call or text us at 901-683-0989. Among other things, it's Gilbert Gottfried's birthday, which I will say, Allan, given the right material, that guy could be pretty funny. He can also, he had a very irritating voice, but it worked in the right context when he played it up. But anyway, good for him. And then it's also National Pancake Day, which this is, to me, I mean, it's what is about 8:47 out here. This is a good time for some pancakes and Tool Talk Radio. So check it out. And of course, we've been talking about. Gosh, you showed me some videos at the break of these Peoria carp hunters. Shoot it looks really ineffective in terms of controlling the population. This looks like it's just pure sport now, Allan.
Well, I have you some wildlife Federation videos pulled up. So I'll show you what it looks like when you get rid of these things of, how do we say this, on a larger scale.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
anyway.
There's a lot of people out there having fun with it, which we appreciate, but yeah, you're not going to solve the problem, one fish at a time.
Well, and I hope they're also eating these fish. Don't just shoot them and whatever. So they're reeling them in. And
they're actually big business now. They're billions of dollars worth of commerce.
Okay, all right. But anyway, on a more positive note, Max, you lost a wrench last week. And
now, Tool Tales with Tool Talk Radio.
Okay, good. Maybe you ought to remind people of what happened if they missed last week's show.
So working on I was having battery issues and I was having literally terminal issues with my battery because the battery terminals were hecka corroded, or at least the positive was. And so, I got these really cool little socket wrenches, and I was really happy about them, and I got to break them out for the project. And then accidentally one of them fell into in between the two radiators.
Yeah. So you could see it, but not get to it.
Yes, it's like I said before, the episode of The Office where Jim just jammed the drawer enough to where Dwight could see the pencils but couldn't get to them.
Yeah, because I had commented, Allan, I'm like, it costs you $12. Just leave the wrench in there. It's not going to bother anything, but Max can't do that.
No.
He was ready to disassemble the car to get this wrench out.
I'm reminded of a quote by Winston Churchill where he said, Americans can always be trusted to do the right thing once all other possibilities have been exhausted.
Okay.
And so I kind of felt
one of my favorite quotes.
There you go.
And so I kind of felt in a similar situation myself, too. And it's one of those things where I found out where it's like I had all these grand ideas and these grand schemes where it actually turns out after an hour into it, it turns out the solution is actually very simple.
Course,
because so I tried doing the fishing line thing with the coat hanger, and then I tried sticking one of those magnet things in there, but it was just the wrong, it was just too big enough for the space between
the diameter
radiators.
was too big. Yeah.
And then it turns out the front radiator is a little bit smaller than the the back radiator and everything. And so for some reason I was looking down in between the little area of my car and everything, and I could actually see the socket wrench just in that little space and everything. And it turns out all I really had to do was just stick my hand in there and pull it out.
Why do we never go to the obvious solution first, Allan? I mean, so you just literally looked at it from another angle, reach your hand in and grab the wrench.
Exactly. I didn't think it. I thought that both radiators and everything were the same size and it was just sandwiched in between. But no, lucky for me, the front radiator was smaller.
Is this like the kid with the emperor has no clothes scenario? This is a very interesting
No, this is
scenario
do not
to me.
leap to conclusions and look at things from different angles.
There you go.
Because the illusion that you're stuck may just be that.
Okay.
That reminds me of this one thing that I heard about. There's these people that in order to never mind. There's a hunting method and everything where they rely on the desperation of the creature and everything. It's they cut the hole just large enough, small enough and everything to where they grab what food is inside. No, I'm kind of getting off on a tangent. I can't really know.
Yeah,
where I'm going.
and I don't want to hear a hunting.
You just wandered off into the weeds there, baboon trapper.
Okay,
so
but-
let me sum it up for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Basically, when you are looking at things, you are processing information based on what you see from this angle. So you're going to make basic assumptions based on the patterns you've already seen. And I'm going to tie this directly to home improvement, and especially working in your yard right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to steal a line from Robin Williams and the Dead Poets Society and tell you, go stand on a chair. Go sit down a different direction.
Yeah.
Do you have small children? Because your backyard looks really different from 3 foot high than it does at 5'6".
Yeah.
So you need to look at it. And also, I'm going to tell you, if you're going to add a pet, you really need the pet's eye view, because what may look impenetrable to you may look like an open invitation to your new little Fluffy to go sail it out of that little hole in the corner of the fence.
So their kids might be asking, why is mommy crawling on the ground?
There you go.
Yes, there are reasons why I tell people that you sometimes need to just go get a beverage and have a seat and sit there and watch.
Yeah.
Because you'll at that point go, hey, I think I can get my hand under there and get that wrench out. Or you'll go, if we're going to get a dog, we're going to have to put a build out around the bottom of the boxwood fence to keep little Fluffy from digging out and going and playing with the, St. Bernard next door.
Yeah. I'm reminded of a quote that I came up with myself where it's calm breeds creativity.
Oh, very good. I think you're right. You got to relax the mind.
It also breeds
observe.
observation.
Yeah.
So I'm going to congratulate you on that, and I'll finish your story is in How to Catch a Baboon is put grain in the pot so he can reach his arm in, and when he has his hand full, the hand won't come out. So I'll finish that one
is that
for
what
you
you
too.
were talking about, man?
Yes.
I remember seeing a video about that because, I'm not giving this grain up.
I'm not giving this grain up. So sometimes, and I'm going to point again back to home improvement, sometimes you get an idea in your head, and this is where any number of contractors will tell you that certain TV shows showing you how to do certain things are, well, how do we put this? Fiction.
Yeah. They don't always have just because they're showing you the trendiest new thing.
I love these people are kind of like, well, I just got my assistant teaching job and I'm doing this and we're going to do a $300,000 upgrade to the house.
Yeah.
No, you're not. It's a wonderful TV show, but you're not building a dinosaur park in the backyard. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So
Well, Max, that's exciting, though, because you didn't have to disassemble one of the radiators. You didn't have to, but you did have to crawl under the car, right?
Yes.
And look under
I just kneeled. That's all.
Oh.
I believe I mentioned that last week.
Yeah.
You probably just need to slide up underneath there and reach over and grab that.
Okay. So all's well that ends well. And but it's not what is this wrench called? It's open-ended. It's like a box
Yes, it's a socket wrench.
But it's got a socket. But that's not a socket wrench, is it?
We call them socket wrenches or loop socket.
This is like a 10 millimeter wrench. And,
Yes.
and for
they're
some
awesome.
reason,
These
10
things
millimeters.
are the greatest things.
10 millimeters serve a lot of uses for your car. Like I always keep one in my car because for whatever reason, I guess battery terminals, there's a lot of things in your car that are 10 millimeters. So that's exciting. I mean, it's nice to have a Triumph, Max, better than
and I learned how to improperly make electrical connections because it was all because of a poor terminal.
Yeah, exactly.
It'll do it.
So, all right. Well, boy, where'd that first hour go? I don't know where it went, but it jumped into
down the river,
out of the water, and it's gone. So, but we have a lot coming up here in the second hour of Tool Talk Radio. So we'll take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis. Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from Allan Spices over at allanspices.com, and our pal Max over there behind the glass. You can call or text us at 901-683-0989. And we also invite you to go over to Facebook and go to @ToolTalkRadio and check out the posts we've made over there. It's a pretty action-packed day so far, Alan, and it's a lot of it has to do with unintended consequences and water, basically.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And well, actually, your week, your week seemed to keep the motif going. So why don't we dive into that?
All righty, let's just keep right on going.
Oh, the humanity.
That's what Denise's farm sounds like.
Does it? Yeah, it sounds pretty nuts over there. But it's time for Alan's Week in Review, and so you were seaside this week, or well, lakeside.
Lakeside again. You know, a lot of commercial facilities have, you know, some type of pond, lake, or water management as part of their landscaping. And a facility I was working with this week has a nice pond right in the dead center of things. Has 2 beautiful, relatively new docks that go out over it.
Oh.
And, you know, so of course, it's duck and goose season. Yeah, it is literally bird breeding season. So everybody's kind of...
Is that what it is?
Everybody's kind of pairing up and looking for nest. And this is why the huge flocks of geese are like taking over roadsides.
Wait, I thought they left for the winter. Are they?
Oh, they're
are they
back.
Okay.
Oh, they're...
It doesn't feel like winter. It's like going to be 70 degrees today.
Most of them never leave anymore.
Okay.
They have become cityfied.
Yeah.
It's kind of like...
They just ride out the couple cold spells. We
don't... We're in the South, technically. I mean, we just don't get that bad that long.
Yeah.
So nothing they can't handle. So let's just start with the words DTM.
DTM.
DTM. Of when you are working in your yard and you're putting in a feature, it is very important, just like we've talked about on the caulk aisle, that find the proper product for the job you're doing.
Don't cheap out on caulk either.
Don't cheap out, and really don't ever cheap out on paint.
Yep.
Because I had to repair metal features around the lake. So they're, you know, high moisture level area. And they got a cute little fountain out in the middle that provides a little blowover spray, depending upon the wind.
I didn't think of that. There's spray when you get those.
You know, you get a really good wind blowing, you're going to get a little damp on, you know, one side of the lake or the other. And whoever had put in these metal columns, all right, whoever put them in did a great job.
Yeah.
Done well, set up, good installation. Whoever painted them and has been taking care of them for the last 30 years, let's just say you've been a little lax. And they were using interior latex paint on exterior metal poles.
Well, because you talked about they installed something last week. Like you said, this was only a few years old and it was already rotted. But you showed me some pictures of the buildings themselves, and they have metal columns for one thing. Yep. Why not PVC? I don't know. That's what you usually
it's whatever
use for
was
columns,
put in. So there was a lot of scraping and carrying on.
They're rusting really bad too.
They were. Yeah. They were. Now they've been scraped and sanded and put back into shape, and then a lovely substance called direct to metal. Welcome to the proper paints.
Yeah.
The proper primers and the proper paints. Now, is DTM cheap? No. Do you need it? Yes. So anytime you're going to put in a feature like this, and I'm going to pick on like a swing set or other items where you're going to have exposed metal, make sure that, you know, at your favorite big box store and or paint store, tell the person at the front counter what you're painting.
Yeah.
Because chances are there is an additive or a specific formula designed to take care of the job.
Question about rust. The way that you described rust sounds more like just sort of like an external nuisance that you can scrape off. I'm asking because there was a situation where my buddy Cliff from the SCA helped me remove the rust from my sword, and they said that it got so deep that it almost became like a cavity and everything to the metal. And so at what point does it go from just an external nuisance you scrape to a literal cavity?
And a structural problem. Because these columns you sent me a picture, they're supporting a roof, man.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
There's a lot going on there. All right,
Yeah.
really good question because you're really talking about the type of metal, the density of the metal, and the job the metal is doing. In this particular case, these are 3 very large, cylindrical, heavy, dense metal. So it's not like a thin metal like a sheet metal. This is much heavier, and the actual original plate that I'm working on is about 3/4 of an inch thick. So there is a lot of metal. Now, is it pitted? Is it actually done damage to the metal? Yes. However, I've got so much metal to work with, I can sand that down and then get the proper primer and the proper paint on it to seal it against the elements until that paint eventually fails and oxidizes. So nothing is going to solve your problem forever. It's all in the lovely world of maintenance. You're always solving your problem for now, for as long as you can. So it's kind of like
It's not like a once all fix.
Right. It's not going to be fixed forever. Is it going to continue to rust? Well, it's already rusting. But what I'm doing is arresting it so that the poor maintenance director for the next 3 to 5 years doesn't really have to worry about it.
Yeah.
But somewhere in the 3 to 5 years from now category, somebody needs to look at it. Somebody needs to check it, see if there needs to be any sanding, see what needs to be touched up. Because all paint left to the outside world is going to be affected by oxygen, water, and sunlight.
Yep.
They are all going to break down the chemical composition of your paint.
Now, I know you all are a fan of using exterior screws internally. Would you say that the same logic applies to paint, where you could even use you should use exterior paint and interior?
Probably not. Again, different paint formulations are also going to give off different chemicals. So because of the chemical composition of an exterior DTM, I would not use it in the house.
I was trying to think of a situation. Yeah, I can't disagree with it because, Max, it has things like mold not mold inhibitors, so like algae inhibitors and things like that. And it also, and so when we think about like microplastics, when we think about it breaking down, you don't really want it break. Just like we don't want arsenic, like treated lumber, breaking down and we're breathing it in and all that.
Yeah, well, this is why it is so important to have that conversation of, am I getting the proper product for the proper application? Of an interior paint is designed to be interior. It's not designed to be subjected to the outside world, the sunshine, the temperature variations, and that type of stuff.
Now, Max, I'm thinking of okay, what do you think of this, Allan? Sometimes under a sink, if it's a cabinet, is almost like its own ecosystem in there. It could have leaks. It could have humidity. And then there's sometimes in areas where there might be moisture. I don't know if I'd be opposed to putting a little exterior paint in there.
But there are already water sealant or water resistant additives that can go in the proper paint.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
So, so again, this is always where you want to ask that question of, if you've got an external, if you got an external area that you think is going to have a little extra moisture to it, go ahead and ask, hey, have you got an antifungal that you can put in that?
Yeah, that's true.
So there are some great additives that aren't going to kill you on price. But again, very important to make sure you get the proper product in the proper place.
And then what's the logic? You guys have said this before, but I'm kind of blanking. What's the logic behind using the exterior screws interiorly? Like,
so they
what's the
don't
reason?
rust.
Oh, okay.
Because like sometimes you'll have humidity that gets right through the sheetrock, and sheetrock screws do not handle moisture at all.
No,
they're going to lose every time.
They're designed to be in dry sheetrock.
Yeah, and we've seen it, Max, where somebody just grabbed whatever screws they had and they built a fence out of like interior sheetrock screws, and that's why you have rust streaks going down the side, because they're breaking down. So yeah.
So,
and plus they're not hurting anything, Max. They're just a different composition. Those that, it might cost a few bucks more, but I like the safety of knowing these things aren't going to rot.
Yeah, they got a good grip to them. So to add the waterfowl to the story, of course, I'm working around a lake, and 2 or 3 geese decided to be supervisors.
Yeah.
So, every time I'm moving around something, every so often I'm getting a small critique little honk. I'm like, all right, I'm getting there. Give me a second. I'm getting around the other side, guys.
I'm just thinking of the two guys from the Muppets.
Oh, I had them, and then I had to remove I'm sure this thing was a great idea 40 years ago.
Yeah.
But my goodness, what a horrible white elephant. It was honestly a 5 foot across, 3-inch thick, 2 foot tall concrete planter that somebody had put in the middle of a walkway.
Oh, good. Yeah, great. Yeah, that sounds like a really good design feature there. So
we'll talk about that when we get back. Yeah.
Okay, so we have that. And then coming up soon in our Great Moments in Building History, it only took 144 years, but the outside of the Sagrada Familia has finally been complete.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
Extraordinary events call for extraordinary actions. Will you form an allegiance to use sudden violence? Okay. Do you have the tools to turn a wooden mop handle into a stake? Which size?
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
Sounds like the Peoria Carp Committee.
Yeah, I don't think you're not going to catch many carp with that one. And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from Allan Spices over at allanspices.com, and our pal Max over there behind the glass. You can call or text us at 901-683-0989. And we also invite you to go over to Facebook and go to @ToolTalk Radio. And then we've made a few posts up there. We posted a nice picture of our listener Denise's gray, I don't know what kind of goose that is, but it's
Chinese goose.
Gracie Lou. It's a good-looking goose. Very good-looking creature. And also our great moment in building history and our must-have item of the week. But and also today is National Pancake Day and Gilbert Gottfried's birthday. Nobody's weighed in on Gilbert Gottfried. Maybe he's a little gone, he rubbed people the wrong way. Yeah. So, but Allan, regardless, I still feel like we have a civic duty to for people that are maybe they just woke up. Maybe they haven't even prepared their pancakes for the day yet. Maybe they missed the entire first hour of Tool Talk Radio. They're confused. They don't know what it was we were talking about. They're upset with themselves for not setting the alarm clock earlier, and the show's gone forever. But there's hope for those people, right?
Fear not. Fear not. Of course, we are illustriously podcast around the known universe of Hello, Brazil. Hey, guys.
Okay.
It's just awesome.
Are they new to... Okay.
We got a bunch of downloads in Brazil this past week. So we are featured on Spotify, YouTube, and any better place where you get your podcast. You can just go to tooltalkradio.com. And honestly, Joe, there is years and years and years of content available. So if you need your Tool Talk fix, or, as I've learned, we are great background motivation for getting stuff done.
There you go.
You're working in the garage, click on us. We'll keep talking and keep you company while you keep working.
Exactly. And send us pictures of what you're working on.
Oh, yeah.
But speaking of working on things, Allan, you were working this week on an outside project. Well, you got good weather for it, at least.
It was so pretty.
Yeah.
It was so pretty.
But you said the geese were right in your face. Huh?
They were. You just love working on somebody and having somebody backseat drive.
Oh yeah.
And it's because the funny part is, they would look at each other, and then look at what I was doing, and then look back at each other, and then one of them would look at me and be like, "Oh."
Well,
really?
Here's what I'm wondering about, Al. You said this was this giant cement planter that they stuck in by a sidewalk, but maybe at night that's where they camped out. Maybe you're removing their home.
No,
okay.
No, I promise you nothing was camping out in this thing. So I got asked, what can we do with that? And I said, well, it's a beautiful spot. Why don't we turn it into a showpiece? And they're like, well, great. They're like, well, you can have that.
Yeah, thanks.
No, thank you. I don't need 12 guys trying to lift this thing out of here. And I have two favorite tools on the whole planet.
I was wondering if the sledgehammer was going to make an appearance.
Smack and Yellow got involved. Yellow is a 40-year-old wrecking bar It, basically closely related to a crowbar, but with a lot bigger and a lot more attitude. And Smack is my erstwhile 10-pound sledge that has destroyed virtually any substance on this planet at some point or another. I have had that sledgehammer for decades.
Yep.
So we're sitting there looking at this thing. So I tried to get it so I could wedge it up and just try to get it up out of the ground and see, I was thinking maybe it's going to be like that stucco mix. No. This bad boy was an original 3-inch thick concrete, 5 foot across, giant bathtub of ugly. He's just thinking massive.
I'm just thinking of like the comic book headline for Smack and Yellow, the superheroes, is like, has Smack finally met his match?
And then he's like, hold my beer.
So I'm digging all the dirt out of it. I'm filling up the buckets. I got everything, kind of cleaned up and ready. At this point, I turn around, and by the poles that I cleaned last week, that are now beautiful and black and shiny, and they're not nasty and ugly looking, I have an audience.
Yeah.
They have all shown up. There's like 10 of them lined up around, and they're not on me. They're not real close, but they are honestly lined up around like, what's he doing? Is he trying to dig that up? It was hilarious.
Hecklers.
It was great. They're all looking at me like, man, it's just so sad when they go bad like this,
Yeah.
And, but I will say this for them. The first time Smack came down on the inside lip. Now, again, safety first, eye protection. I was wearing really good impact-resistant eye protection.
Yeah.
So Smack got utilized, and I started breaking this bad boy up and putting it in my cute little draggy cart and hauling it off to the dumpster. But my goodness gracious, this thing was a beast.
Well, and it's full of dirt too, right?
I dug all that out.
Yeah.
I'm cheap.
But
kept
it's
the
also
dirt.
wedged into the dirt below it.
Oh, it was a good 4 inches down. It had
Yeah.
sunk in good.
Yeah.
I did keep the actual bottom plate of it and re-leveled the area and put the bottom plate back in because I was going to put in a new planter, and I went and got a 4 foot tall, beautiful black modern planter. And it got filled up with the dirt from the original giant bathtub. And got some lovely little yellow pansies right on top. And it looks cute and adorable. And new gravel was put all around it. And it's now a really nice showpiece.
Yeah.
Where there just used to be this gargantuan, just...
this looks like a vase or something, like a big...
Oh, yeah, I put in a 4 foot tall, literally a 4 foot tall vase.
Yeah.
And looks fabulous, looks better. So the takeaway on this is, when you look at old projects, sometimes it's worth taking them down.
Yeah.
That fish pond was great 20 years ago, and now it is just right in the middle of where the kids want to play.
And I'm also thinking of the idea of building with mobility and demolition in mind, because maybe you like that planter, but maybe you want to have some of the elements moved a little bit more to the left or the right or a different part of the facility. So you can't move that concrete monstrosity easily. You have to demolish it.
Yeah.
So you have to choose the materials well in order to be able to, quote unquote, relocate it to elsewhere.
Yeah, because this thing... The new one you put in looks cool, and it looks like it could be moved easy if you ever...
No, it's full of dirt. It ain't going nowhere.
Get a dolly or something.
Well, if you got a good commercial dolly, you could get it under it and roll that baby wherever you wanted to put it.
Okay. So, all in all, a successful operation. Yep. And I was thinking of the geese. You were I guess it was a little bit quiet on the lake that day. No, there was nothing else to watch, so they went.
Even the turtles were kind of like, "What's he doing?"
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. But I tell you what, the first time that sledgehammer rammed into that concrete, suddenly everybody had somewhere else to be.
Oh yeah, they weren't digging that. I was gonna say, I bet they scattered. When.
Well, they didn't panic. I'll give them their due. They just kind of looked at me and went like, yeah, okay, I'm good here. I'm going to go float over here now.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, so that sounds like a pretty successful week then. So, and you got to work outside in nice weather.
It was beautiful.
Okay. All right. Well, let's tee this up then.
And now, great moments in building history.
All right, Alan, we got just enough time to kind of set the table, but you sent me this article, and I remember specifically talking about this structure, and I know Max is a fan of this artist as well. So,
Well, it's one of these things we have discussed Antoni Gaudi's work in the past, and a great moment in building history has been his basically a basilica, a huge
isn't the word. It's like the tallest, right,
in
the world.
It is absolutely just a massive, massive work, and it's being built for the last 144 years.
Yeah, no rush.
I mean, it's kind of like, so here we go. They're working on the Basilica, and they put the last 12-ton piece in place.
12 tons at the very top.
The very top of this thing.
Jeez.
If you've seen a picture, it is astounding the size of the crane dropping this thing in. But after 144 years, they can now honestly say the exterior is done according to Gaudi's plan.
Exterior emphasis.
Yeah.
Yeah, the inside still has...
Well, they've got some work to do. I mean, this isn't the last time we'll talk about this, but it is absolutely huge.
Okay. So there it is. So the outside's done. The inside still has work to do, but regardless, it is a pretty amazing structure, and we're going to talk about it when we come back here on Tool Talk Radio.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
All these science fears are made of asbestos, by the way. Keeps out the rats. Let us know if you feel a shortness of breath, a persistent dry cough, or your heart stopping, because that's not part of the test. That's asbestos.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
That's the guy that talked about connecting the two rivers in Chicago. Alan. Blame him. Yeah. And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio,
Chicago
everybody.
politics isn't really gotten a lot of love on the show today.
No, and they never will. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Alan Gilbreth from Allan Spices over at allanspices.com, and our pal Max over there behind the glass. You can call or text us at 901-683-0989, and we invite you to go over to Facebook and check out and go to @Tool Talk Radio. Well, before the break, Alan, you were making note of this is sort of a monumental thing. I think last week, after 144 years of construction, the outside of the Sagrada Familia, designed by Antoni Gaudi, was finally finished. Now there's still work to go. I mean, this is a long construction project. I mean, multi-generational.
Yes.
It's sort of an interesting thing. But Max, you had a question before the break that I think is very pertinent.
I said, did Antoni Gaudi anticipate, how did he anticipate, if he had the idea of building on such a scale with the tech of his time, how did he anticipate back then being able to complete it with the tech of his day?
Yeah, because we're talking 500. How tall is this thing? It's
not short.
It's the height of I want to say the spires and everything are the height of like a 40-story building. Is that correct? I mean,
it's the largest church in the world.
Those aren't easy to climb up and to work on and to put a 12-ton cross on the top or whatever. So I don't know, man. That's a good point, Max. Did he just say, well, somebody will figure it out?
And then another question that I had related to it is all of this honoring the original vision of Antoni Gaudi? Like, is this 100% what he would have wanted to do? Because I said off the air an example of a comic book artist that I like who died in the middle of his production and everything, but he had a high school buddy who knew, quote unquote, how he would have wanted it to end. And so is this a similar situation, or did Antoni Gaudi have everything down to the teeth and everybody followed it to the letter?
Yeah, because he built models and stuff. I feel like there were compromises, weren't there, Alan?
Very
structural
few.
things, but
very few.
But he made it very clear. He had detailed drawings and actual scale models of what he wanted. So.
There may have been some material changes over the last 150 years of this project.
Yeah.
Because, we didn't think of it 144 years ago.
Well,
he began working on this.
But I got a question because he died. You told us, Max, he died from something involving electricity, right?
He was on his way to daily mass and everything, and he died by getting hit by a tram.
Which is powered by electricity. Okay, because I'm trying to figure out where we are in the timeline here as far as electricity becoming a big thing, right? Was this at the very beginning of...
All right, where we are on the timeline is when, as all of these projects were coming about, it was because it was the beginning of the Industrial Revolution.
Yeah.
And let's just say optimism that we can do it outweighed any technical question.
You know, it's funny you mention that because this is a period of history we talk about a lot. The Industrial Revolution, the late 1800s, the early 1900s, is like nobody said no to anything. It's like, oh, we want to build the Golden Gate Bridge. Okay, sure. We want to build a skyscraper 80 stories tall. But they found a way to build stuff, the Eiffel Tower, everything, nobody would design a church like this today. This is insane.
No, this is absolutely all over the top
right.
But that was kind of the point. The point was, if we think about the Chrysler building versus the Ford building versus the Empire State Building versus these were ego projects.
Oh, yeah.
And... we don't really think of the railway as an ego project, but it was. These were people that came along and had an idea. And, let's face it, some kind of nasty, oily, gunky stuff coming out of the ground would utterly change the world.
Yeah.
Because a few people went, we can use that.
We can light that on fire.
We can do that. But when we do that,
right.
Then you had somebody else that kind of went, oh, well, if we can do that, then we can do this. And you just have this rampant optimism. And part of the Basilica here also ties into things like the Ferris wheel or the Eiffel Tower or the World Fairs. And I'm going to take this and bring it home and say the takeaway lesson here after 144 years is if you really want to do something, go small, go now, and go over time. Lay out your project. All right, what could we get done this summer? Well, what we ultimately want to do is, this grand plan. But what we can do this summer? Why don't we get the deck ready? Why don't we move the garden? Why don't we look at, is that tree going to be too big and too close? Let's get rid of it now before it's a huge problem and do the right thing. So when you look at a project like this that is honestly scattered over so much time, but last week was big. They're done on the outside. It's amazing. 144 years, and that foreman had to have been screaming in celebration when that last piece dropped into place and they did the last bit of fitting and somebody said, we're done.
Yeah.
There is no greater sensation in a project.
I'm also thinking, too, another key takeaway from this is if you have I'm not trying to get morbid here and everything, but the idea of think of the people that you're leaving behind with your home and everything when it comes to the projects or the unfinished projects that you have, because Anthony Gaudi was there's a quote that you were saying, Allan, of his where he was saying that, well, what if this doesn't get complete in your lifetime? Well, he said, well, my client is not in a hurry. And so I'm just thinking of if you have things in your home, make sure that they're arranged in such a way that it makes it easier for those that you leave behind. Or if you have a project that's left unfinished that you would have liked to have seen complete, leave enough plans and enough material and detail for those to be able to follow it in your spirit.
I got a question. Why did it take so long? Is this just because they had to pay as they go, basically? Is that...
Well...
Because, you got to come up with money. This is... So, folks, if you don't know what it looks like, just Google it. It's a really ornate thing. There's how many different spires on this, all these different outside features. It looks like a I don't know. Who did you say? Orson Welles wasn't a fan.
No, George Orwell said it's a hideous building.
It is in everybody's taste. I can't, it's a bit ornate. I mean, there's a lot going on. It's that period when everybody thought more, just throw everything up there. But but I'm curious why. I guess.
Well, history paused it several times. If you look at your world history, you kind of go,
wars.
Yeah, we couldn't do it then. We couldn't do it then. We couldn't do it then.
Yeah.
Political upheaval. This happened, that happened, this happened, that happened. So there are a lot of breaks. I mean, it's not like they worked on it absolutely every single day for 144 years.
It's like the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Oh, yeah. They stopped for centuries to go fight each other. So,
So there's a lot of history in getting to this point, but I think the takeaway today is it's an amazing project that was somebody's vision, and he sold that vision to a lot of people, and he sold that vision so well and so hard that 100 years after his death or more they finally put the last piece in. And so the elation to the whole crew, to everybody that, hey, phase 1 or phase 87 is finally done. And now we can move inside and continue, because this is a working church.
Well, yeah.
It's not like the interior's been sitting here bare for 144 years.
Yeah. Oh, do you have something, Max?
I honestly couldn't remember what I was going to say.
Oh, that's okay.
Well,
the thing is, I don't know, man. I can't think of a comparable structure. I was sitting there going through I know things have been paused, like you said, like the Leaning Tower, because they were forced to. And, well, for one thing, they were forced because the thing started leaning and they had to figure it out. But there's not that many other structures I can think of where they have this long of a time period.
This tenacity.
I would love to see the Lego set for this, honestly.
Is there a Lego set?
No, I don't.
I'm sure there will be.
Because it's like they have like those architecture Lego sets, and it's like they got like really nice. They already have Notre Dame, so I'm waiting for a Sagrada Familia Lego set, and I'm waiting for like full scale, like you can put minifigures inside.
Oh, there you go.
I mean, that thing would be gigantic. I'm sure some private Lego sculptor has done this, don't you think? So, but
it'd be cool. It's just, if you haven't looked at it, look at the Sagrada Familia. It's in the news from last week.
And
it's an amazing project. But the biggest news here is, you know what? If you're persistent enough, you can pretty much get a project done.
Yeah, and I'm sure actually part of this 144 years is doing maintenance on the outside of the stuff they already built. It's not like you build it and it's done. So it's But good for them for sticking with it and getting it knocked out. I guess we'll just keep the clock running and see when the inside gets finished.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about it again.
Okay. All right. Well, this is something I don't want to talk about, but I feel like it's our duty. Allan, I had a unfortunate. There was an unfortunate accident at our house last night involving the garage door, and we'll talk about it when we come back here on Tool Talk Radio.
Tool Talk Radio with Joe and Allan.
How about it, Bart? Would you like a new backyard barbecue pit?
Can I burn evidence in it?
We can all burn evidence in it.
News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis.
Okay. I just wonder what kind of evidence we're talking about here, Allan. And welcome back to Tool Talk Radio, everybody. I'm Joe Thorderson with Thor's Hammer, Carpentry and Wood Turning, here with my buddy Allan Gilbreth from Allan's Spices over at allanspices.com, and our pal Max over there behind the glass. There's just enough time for a quick phone call or text at 901-683-0989, and we invite you to follow us on Facebook if you just go to @Tool Talk Radio. Before we get to my tale of woe, though, Allan, we were talking about this the Sagrada Familia, this basilica that basically took 144 years just to finish the outside. The inside's been, I mean, it's not like it's empty inside.
Right.
We talked about, I don't know. But there was some interesting, because we were talking about the maintenance on a place like this. This was designed, you wonder if Antoni Gaudí even knew that there was going to be electricity incorporated into this.
And the highest part of the tower, the Jesus Tower with the cross on it now, is 558 feet tall.
So that is almost 60 a 60-story building almost. So whose job is it to go up there and change the light bulbs? That's just nuts.
I'd be using LEDs.
Yeah.
I'd be buying the good ones.
But you told me something about Big Ben that was interesting to me.
Well, when you find out what actually happened with these kind of superstructures, Big Ben, if you've ever seen the internal workings, there is kind of a rocking bar or a timing bar.
Yeah.
And sitting there next to it is a little pile of pennies.
Huh.
And they're the pennies that the guy setting the timing on Big Ben had in his pocket. And you speed up or slow down Big Ben by adding or removing a penny.
Think of the fine tuning on that.
So here's
one
this
penny is making a difference.
Gargantuan structure, and it's basically being kept in check by some dude's pocket change from 1830.
Now that's interesting.
And
they're still using those same.
Don't touch them. Don't mess with them. These pennies work perfect. Don't mess with it. So when you get into some of these really historic structures, you find really interesting and occasionally bizarre facts. Like, in 150 years ago, obviously we'd have been talking candles or some kind of lighting.
Yeah.
Well, now 150 years later, we're gonna be running LED low voltage electricity up 600 feet in this thing, and lighting it up. So some poor guy's job is going to be to keep up with the lighting.
Yeah.
But he's not going to have to go up and down those stairs twice a day to light the candles and put out the candles.
Well, that's a good point. And then, I was thinking too, the acoustics of this place were designed before, before we would have speakers and microphones and things like that. So, because it's a big church, so you have to, they have to think about acoustics.
Well, so was Carnegie Hall, and it was tuned by ear. And you can stand in an empty theater at Carnegie. You can stand on the stage. Somebody can be all the way in the back, and you can just speak in a normal tone of voice, and they can hear you just fine.
It's interesting because but you're making me think. Okay, we say this all the time. We began the 20th century riding a horse and buggy, and ended the 20th century by flying to outer space. Well, think of the beginning of this construction and where we're at today, the different changes and how technology's evolved, and interesting. And somehow this thing was able to maintain, that's very interesting to think about. But all right, well, let's shift gears, Max. Speaking of evolving technology.
And now, Tool Tales with Tool Talk Radio.
So if you've listened to Tool Talk Radio, you know that my house was built in 1952. It's burned into my memory because I'm always looking it up to see. Well, Allan, I have the original garage doors on my house.
You do?
Wooden doors, solid doors. They don't have the little divider. They when you lift the garage door, you're lifting. If I had to estimate, I'd say it's probably a 150-pound door, wouldn't you think? So they're not gigantic doors, but still,
They're dense. Yeah.
Well, last night, my wife goes to open the garage, and boom, there was this explosive sound. And luckily, her car wasn't in the garage, but sure enough, and then all of a sudden, there's this drooping, and the thing stopped, and one of the garage door springs broke. Now, our garage door is a little more, I'd almost say primal, because they were built before garage doors. Like, you went out there, basically, it had a little latch with a lock on it, and you lifted it by hand. So the springs assisted you. You can lift it pretty easy, but the garage door opener, So, Allan, this is the second time I've changed the spring. Basically, I stole one spring from the other garage, because the other door, because we never opened that one. Well, this one finally broke, and now I have to replace this. I'm just going to replace both springs. But I have a question, too. We have sort of the previous owner of our house was a little unorthodox, let's just say. The man I'm talking about.
That's a kind way of putting it, yes.
Well, he painted these springs. And I have to wonder if that played a role in their demise, because the new springs that I'm buying, I'm not painting them. But, these things, garage doors are nothing to play games with. We talk about that all. We talk about the tension. Now, these springs I don't think has the same kind of coiled tension that you get like with the modern garage door. But boy, if you have garage door problems, folks, it's probably important to talk about garage door safety here. Because I'm just thinking
that spring will kill you.
Yeah,
it
literally will.
That spring can kill you. Yeah.
And your garage door is finely balanced, especially if you have like the double, like if you have one that's for, and you know, we've talked in the past, like this is something you don't let your kids jump up and hang from the garage door, and then get, you know, and you got to keep it maintained. But
yeah, I'm trying to think if there is a reason why paint would have anything to do with the fill of the spring. I think it's just the spring's fatigued and got old.
Well, I wondered
because it's old. If that paint was going to do it in, it'd have done it in a long time ago.
Well, my thought was if there's any rust or any compromise, this is just going to intensify. Instead of having a chain that is exposed and you can oil it or whatever. I mean, obviously it's a 70-something-year-old spring, so it finally gave way. But I still wonder, though, because most of the time the door is closed, and when the door is closed, there's no tension on the spring, very little. So I still wonder if my garage door is actually safer than a modern. I don't know. I was thinking about that because I'm like, the only time it's actually showing any tension is when it's open. And if it breaks, it's got two clips on each side, so it might, I don't know, unless you're standing right below it or something like that.
Well, I think a lot has to do with the expansion and closing of the spring. I think the being stretched out and putting it back together has more to do with the breakage.
Yeah.
Because it's going to break not just hanging there. It's going to break when that door is moving.
Yeah, but it just reminded me that like I was watching videos. Now there's some people, they're really hardcore. They're doing maintenance checks on the garage every month. I don't know. I mean, the biggest thing is keep the rails clean and balanced. There's some good tips about like if you disconnect your garage door, if you have the kind that's more modern, and you lift it up halfway, it should stay in place. And if it doesn't, if it either comes down, it's not balanced.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, just it's going to be one of these I'll be reporting back because that there's it's the thing about these is like I didn't plan on spending my weekend working on my garage door, but now it's suddenly,
your house had other plans.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's like my rent situation for you.
Yeah, I mean, I've done it before, Max and everything, but the biggest thing is I got to find springs that match. Hopefully my big box store can accommodate us. But
pretty
to
sure
me, I think that's going to be, and actually too, there's different tensions you got to get, different weight ratios, and I don't know, man.
But most importantly, put that safety wire in there.
Oh yeah,
because a lot of people are like, oh, that wire doesn't do anything. That wire may save your life.
When it breaks, it just keeps it from flying out. So yeah, good point. So. All right, well, another dynamic and action-packed episode of Tool Talk Radio's in the can. So on behalf of my buddy Allan Gilbreth and our pal Max over there behind the glass, I want to say thanks for listening. I'm Joe Thorderson, and we'll see you next week.
Now go eat some pancakes.